Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
We just returned from the Camino yesterday, and before we put all of our gear away, we thought that we would share with you what we brought along on our journey. So the first things first is we each brought a backpack from Osprey. I had a 40. It was Tempest 40.
Mine is a Talon 44.
Which actually, the size of the pack is decent. The only problem is that the pads on the hips are just totally lacking.
Yeah, too small.
You really need a better amount of padding on your hips, because of course that's where you want to carry all of your weight, is on your hips. So that's something to consider. We had originally purchased gravity backpacks, which were amazing.
From Osprey as well. They call them zero gravity. They were 50
gravity.
and 60 liters, something like that.
And the size was just too large, but
So
the padding was phenomenal. So in hindsight, we would like the same size packs, but with the padding of the anti-gravity packs.
Or, in retrospect, don't worry about the size of the pack. Just fill it less, and it'll be easier to carry. We thought, since we were going to travel light, so we thought that we could carry a lighter pack, like a day pack or a 2-day pack. Like the guy at REI said, he goes, well, you're doing like a 35-day run. And I said, yeah, but it's like 35 one-day shots. And he rolled his eyes and said, oh, okay. But
that's
yeah,
wrong.
In retrospect, no. But still, a very good pack. It's got this air gap on your back, which does help. So in addition to these, we got
these little day packs, and actually I piggybacked it with using carabiners on the back of the big backpack, which was probably not the best idea. It really made it look like a turtleback, with too much on the back of my backpack.
Yeah, the weight stuck out further and thus added to the G-force of the pack.
Yeah, I think you should actually, if you needed to, carry it in the front. So you'd have your backpack on your back and the front pack on your front if you needed the extra space. Or buy a little bit bigger backpack and don't worry about it. However, sorry Greg, the reason that we bought these is so that in the afternoon when we were looking around the towns or going to the bar/cafes, we would have something to keep our valuable possessions in, like our passports and our money and a little jacket in case it got cold. So things like that you needed a little day pack for.
We never needed.
And I needed it because I carried all of the stuff that was smaller into town, and he didn't carry anything. So
well, I had to stick this in my pack. And what worked out nice, because I wasn't using it, we had a friend whose feet were really bothering her, and I gave it to her to use, and she carried it for like 2 weeks. Never used it, but thanks, Amber, for carrying it for us. And when we had the rest of our trip, it worked out very well. So bigger pack, a smaller little something to put your passports in and such, but I wouldn't do this again.
So speaking of backpacks, a couple of really good tools that we used with the backpacks were this wonderful invention. It's like a flexible
rubber coated something.
Yeah, and you can tie things onto your backpack. And in my case, my boots gave me blisters at the beginning, and so consequently the boots had to be carried. But of course they're dirty, so you don't want to put them inside your pack. So we just attached them to the back. You put this on one of them,
put another one on the other boot, and then the third one on the shoelaces, and put them on the back of the backpack. And they were great. We used this to tie on socks, wet clothes, jackets, everything. Wonderful idea. They weigh nothing. They make them in, so many lengths. And I think these are like.
Where did we get those? REI?
No, I think I got these at Home Depot. But look for them. They're really nice and they're cheap. They're like $2 for 4.
The other wonderful piece of equipment is a simple carabiner. I used mine on my backpack to carry a little flashlight, a handheld flashlight, which you'll need for the albergues or just wherever you're staying in order to see in the night. Or if you're doing an early morning hike or a night hike, you might want to use something as simple as this. Also, I used it to hold my hand sanitizer because I'm kind of a germaphobe. So I have this little attachment to hold onto the backpack, the hand sanitizer. It worked perfectly because it had accessible at all times, and because sometimes you have to go to bathrooms in kind of questionable spots or outside, as we'll talk about later.
I think we carried 3 or 4 a piece. You can get them on Amazon for 75 cents a piece or something like
nothing.
that. Another thing that is very, very important are your water bottles. We carried 2 1-liter bottles each. I would have carried 2 still. She would have carried 1. There were certain days when I thought the fonts were a little bit scarce, but for some reason she never ran out of water. I ran out of water, even carrying 2 when I was on a 6 or a 7-liter drinking day. So I would carry 2 if you're a smaller person or you want to carry less weight. Maybe get a 1.5. They do make some thinner 1.5s, but they're very long. These worked great for me, I thought.
I thought because you have bars every maybe 3 to 5 kilometers, they'll fill your water up for you if you just ask them nicely to, you know, más agua por favor, and they'll fill it for you, no problem. Sometimes they'll be really nice and even put in ice.
But
Awesome.
but when you leave Pamplona and you walk all the way over the Hill of Forgiveness, and the next place is very far away, you'll easily drink
But
2
you
of
can
these.
buy one. Just make sure you have water whenever
1
you
or 2.
leave.
Another thing that you can bring with your water, and we bought this at the local pharmacy, is this hydration additive, which works really well. Not the best tasting, kind of makes your bottle taste like it for another week, but this is really, really good. It helps you hydrate much quicker. And they don't weigh much. I bought 12, and I think I'm bringing 5 or 6 home, so added weight.
On the other side, you don't have to bring that stuff or buy it there, because they do have Powerade and Aquarius, which is our version of Gatorade. Easily accessible. You can just buy one the night before you go on your walk. It's totally fine. You don't have to carry that powder
Right,
stuff.
that's true.
Sunglasses.
Bring sunglasses, good ones. And if you carry a case like this, you can just clip it onto the back of your backpack, and it just wiggles right and left nobody, you know, then you know where it is, and you can grab it. And there's a little story behind, I thought someone stole mine, but that's for another day. Anybody watching this that ran with us, they'll know the story. And anyway, great for sunglasses, and you can just put it around the back of your pack.
And a hat. Obviously you need a hat, because the sun is so bright on the Meseta
very
especially.
strong.
And very strong, so bring a hat as well as the sunglasses, sunscreen of course. Let's see.
I brought this ace bandage. I tried to use it, I ended up cutting it in half and trying to use it, and it really didn't work. And it does, believe me, weight is everything. When you first start thinking about putting your pack together, you're thinking, 6 ounces, another pound, half pound. Any ounce, half an ounce, 2 ounces will really bother you. This doesn't weigh much, but its size and its weight. I didn't use these, but here is something that's really nice. It's kind of an ace bandage stretch sticky material, and it sticks to itself, and it comes in different sizes and colors, and you can get rolls of this for like $4 at CVS or what have you. And this worked great for my compression or stress fracture, because I was able to put a what do you call it, kind of a compression strap, 4, 5, 6 rounds of this in a 6 foot 6 inch area. Wonderful stuff. It's good for maybe 2 uses, and then you throw it out and you can get it at their pharmacy there. 15 meters of it for €3, €4 or something like that. Great stuff, absolute add to the pack.
Okay, so now stick to the subjects, would you? We were talking about backpacks and we were talking about sun. So we're going to talk about inclement weather. So we ended up purchasing rain covers for our backpacks. We
used them for an hour.
We used them maybe an hour.
We had excellent weather though. You gotta
And
admit, we had rain.
Anyway,
none.
Sticking to the subject, you need either a rain cover for your backpack as well as a rain jacket for yourself, or you need a poncho for yourself.
Parka.
And you can put it over poncho, and you put it over yourself and the backpack. So either one, but you don't need all 3. We ended up taking all 3, and it was kind of an extra weight
Extra
weight that
weight.
you don't need. You do need some sort of a sleeping
Sleep sack.
sack or a sleeping bag. I suggest the sleep sack because they're so lightweight. And
For colder weather, you might want a
if
or
you-
a sleeping bag.
yes. However, the only problem with sleep sacks is they're very hard to get in and out of. So when your legs are really tired at the end of a day and you're trying to squeeze in and out of the sleep sack, it opens sort of like a mummy bag, and you have to slide in, and when you're trying to lift your legs up to put them in,
They'll cramp
and they're
up.
sore, they're going to cramp up, and it's
Forget it.
kind of funny, but not funny when you're trying to go back
And
to bed.
And these things here, this is a 100% silk one. From what I hear, they're worth buying because the bed bugs can't get through them.
Or they don't
That's the
like it.
purpose of it, is to keep the bed bugs. We slept on top of ours because of the nice warm hot weather that we had. But we did run into several people that were attacked by bed bugs, and it's becoming a more and more frequent problem in some of the albergues. They can't get through this, but I hear that they can get through cotton or climb on cotton. For some reason, this repels them. So worth the extra $20 or so. I think these were $60.
Another thing you'll have to bring if you plan on staying in albergues or less expensive hotels is a towel. Greg actually used a ShamWow.
Yeah, it has some extras in the garage. It worked perfectly.
But, yeah, like he's a car. But anyways, I had this nice towel from REI.
ShamWow made in Germany.
The only problem with these, as of course any travel item like a towel, is they really don't soak up the water. It's sort of like it repellent. It kind of just pushes it off your skin. But anyways, you have to have something like that. Do bring...
Here's some really interesting things that you absolutely need. They're very inexpensive. Like a ditty sack. They're these little bags. They don't weigh anything.
You get them in different
They
colors.
hold 3, 4, 5, 2 1 liters of stuff. And as you can see, I had all of them stuffed in one. And it condenses down to absolutely nothing. Nice because her blue one had all of the toiletries and toothbrushes and all that. The black one was technology stuff. The green one was first aid and stuff. So it's kind of a, oh, that color equals this. And when you're looking in your pack, you know what to go for.
Exactly.
You can get these on Amazon for, I think it was like 6 of them for $10 or $12. I wouldn't buy the garbage ones for $1 or $2. These have lasted quite well, and I think maybe 4 or 5 more trips I'll get out of these.
Another item that's for storage is these little Snapware type of containers. You can buy it the Container Store or some other type of container store.
And this one's a waterproof one, which I would recommend for first aid kit and all of her.
So Band-Aids and cotton balls and antibacterial gel, things like that, fit perfectly into this, which made it even more accessible to put inside the little cinch sack, so that I just knew that the red one, in my case, the red one was for my Band-Aid kit. It was all organized in here. I just took it out of the pack, and it was easy to use. Perfect solution for that. You can also get them for your soap, if you have
Bring a bar of soap.
Bring a bar of soap.
You'll definitely need a bar of soap.
They also keep your things like your headlamps, which
We'll talk about them a little bit.
which you may need or not need, but they're perfect. These little snap containers.
Next thing are your flip-flops. You stay in an albergue and you're jumping around and walking into those bathrooms and their showers. Some of them are, So bring your flip-flops. They don't weigh anything. They take up some room, but they don't weigh anything.
You can actually use your handy dandy ties to
And
tie
let
them
them
on
hang
the back
outside
of your
your
backpack.
Definite, not even maybe a must. On my gear, I ended up using the Smart Wool medium socks. Excellent for my boots because I wore a very, very hard Asalo boot because of my feet are so bad. Very strong, held my feet in really hard. Still, I got good breathing, and I actually got one little tiny blister. My only injury was my stress fracture, but that's another problem. But not one blister. These held my feet in well, and they work for some, they don't for others. And
I use the double socks made by Wright, called Wright socks, WRIGHT, and they worked great because they're a double liner, but they're stuck together. So it's not like wearing a silk sock and then another sock on top. It's built in. It worked beautifully.
Except you found that out 20-something days into the walk, so she suffered major, if you followed the blog and the videos, major blister issues, which precluded her from doing certain things out of not absent of pain. But we found that out after, and prior to putting on those socks, you use Vaseline all over your feet too, right? The whole front of your foot.
Yep, Vaseline worked great for my toes. My toes got blisters in between each toe and at the end of my toes. So Vaseline kept the friction down, and they were all gone after that. Vaseline
Everybody said,
wonderful.
no, Vaseline, everything now, to make your foot feel gooey and messy.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. You don't even notice at the end of the
Nope.
day, nothing's in your shoe, nothing's in your sock, and off you go. A couple other items that were that I thought were important were I brought a Leatherman, which is one of these all encompassing tools, which I use quite a bit. Used it to trim Band-Aids, used it to trim moleskin, other things like that. A very handy item. It's a little bit heavy, it weighs probably 3/4 of a pound, half a pound, but it's got knives, scissors, can opener, everything in it. So if you have one, bring it. If you don't, I wouldn't buy one. They're about $70 or $80.
Let's see.
Sharpie.
Sharpie works great.
It's a must.
Multi-use. I don't think I have to explain all the uses for a Sharpie. Wonderful.
You write on everything.
Earplugs. You need earplugs for the albergues. We have lots of famous snorers, especially, no offense, but Paolo. Love you.
All right, Paolo.
But we needed earplugs. Compede is a really nice Band-Aid brand that they make, and you can also get medicated it helps to pull the liquid out of your blisters and helps your blisters heal quicker. So Compede, which you get in Europe, in Spain, you cannot get it in the States.
It's not cheap. It's almost like you spend more money in the pharmacies than you do on food. Hard to believe.
Another highly recommended toiletry type item is a moisturizer, because your skin is going to be so dry, and I know you think that it's really like, oh, are you crazy, moisturizer on the Camino, but there's so much dust when you're walking, the back of your legs get super dry
and sunburn,
and so the moisturizer helps keep your skin from getting so super itchy, because it just dries you out crazily.
And here's an item they don't sell here in the States. The minute you get there, I would buy some, because I know quite a few people that, almost half the people I know used it, and it is it's an ibuprofen sister item called dextetroprofen, and it comes in a clear gel, and you put it on your sore areas, and in the morning, it's amazing. It really helps. I hear it's maybe a prescription here in the States, over the counter in Spain.
It's like, is it like an ibuprofen or?
It's an ibuprofen gel. It's their dextetroprofen. So well worth it.
So topical ibuprofen, basically.
Yeah, it takes a couple days to really kind of take effect, but as you can see, I think that was my second one, and several people borrowed it. So good to have, not much weight. Another item we did not use it but one time is our headlamps. These are this is the Diamond brand of, I forget the actual, Black Diamond. I forget which one this is. This is their newer, latest and greatest, high power, supposed to light up the moon. And only 2 days did we actually walk in the dark. Once we already packed these and forgot them, and the last day we did use them for about an hour. It was kind of cool, but depends on the time of year you're going, and depends on if you're going to be doing any night walks. If you're going to do night walks, you'll definitely want to have something like this.
Also talk about your...
This is what, would not buy these. Of course, when I was reading up on the Camino, I'm thinking, if we get stuck outside, we'll need to make fires and kill cows and eat off the ground. Not necessary, totally.
Not necessary at all.
Bought these really nice, top-of-the-line waterproof matches. Supposedly they'll burn underwater for a month.
Don't need them.
All of them are still in there. They're still in the box. Don't waste your money. And one of the big things that I would bring is Ziploc bags. But more important than underwear. So you put stuff in them. I think we brought 5 or 6 gallon and probably 10, 12 quart, and maybe have a quarter of them left. As they wear out, you keep throwing them out and putting new stuff in them. And we didn't run into rain. We hear if it rains and you're soaked, even more so, more
but
important.
you really want to use, especially one for your pilgrim's passport. You'll want to put your important paperwork, like your passport, in a Ziploc bag to keep them dry, just to keep them also safe. You'll want to use them maybe for extra food you have left over for your lunch that you want to bring. They're very versatile. Another item is the handy dandy corkscrew for your wine, because as you know, you get vino on the Camino. Wonderful tool to bring.
And don't forget it, because they're not easy to find, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, it's very important when you have this passport, which, as you've read, or you've probably seen and read, here's mine, for instance, fully stamped. You would just as soon prefer losing your passport than losing this, because you can always get another regular passport. You cannot get another one of these. And if this got wet, I have no idea what the stamps would do, but you'll protect this with your life, and you won't check it. You won't go anywhere without it. When you're out partying at night and doing all sorts of stuff, this puppy's in your pocket. Another thing is for precautionary, these emergency blankets. You can get on Amazon, about $2 a piece. This one here is, I think, about 87 by 59 inches. So should you be in inclement weather, what have you, and you do get stuck in some bad weather, fog, wherever, you can't get an albergue, you get stuck out in the middle of nowhere. I hear these things are great. They don't weigh anything.
If you get injured and someone's going to go into shock, you put that on. It helps keep them warm.
Yeah, or cold. Kind of thing. Cool.
Speak about the medicine.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. There you go.
Ibuprofen. I don't think you're probably the only person I know that didn't eat this stuff.
Never had one.
Unbelievable. I mean, I eat ibuprofen anyway because of my back, but in Spain they sell it in 600 milligram tabs, and you see people at dinner just eating like candy, 1 or 2 a day, maybe 3. It does help. You think that only 12 or 15 miles isn't much, but when you're doing it day after day after day, by about the 4th or 5th day, 10th, 15th, or 30th day, whatever it is, you start to feel it. So
wear and tear.
Very nice to have in your pocket. Besides that, I actually brought some extra stuff that I shared with some of the people that needed it on the Camino. I brought some nice, real good painkillers. I brought some sleeping stuff. I brought some stress stuff. I brought some all sorts of stuff. Didn't use much of it. It was nice to have. Wouldn't do it again because it probably weighs about 8 ounces, and it was one of these little boxes.
Another snap container.
In addition to, and here's some of that moleskin going back to equipment. This is the thicker stuff. What I would bring for sure is just the Dr. Scholl's. It's got to be a 16th or a 32nd of an inch thick. Very, very thin. Looks like this. And it comes in a roll. It's about this long, by probably 1.5 feet by 6 inches. I'd buy 2 of those.
And you could cut it to form. So
you'll use it for
everything. For example, I had blisters on the bottom of my feet, where your toes meet the pad of your foot, and so in order to protect my foot, it was easy for us to use the Leatherman and cut the moleskin to form my foot. It was wonderful.
And I had a rough spot in the back of my boot, and I put this on maybe in day 5, and it's still, I mean, that's where your foot rubs up and down, and it's still there.
Still there.
Awesome stuff. That's a must, a triple must. As much, close to wine, not quite on the level of wine, but pretty much there.
Back to looking at the boot, bringing extra laces.
Absolutely.
Is invaluable.
I broke 2 pairs, I think. You're stressing the boots and you're stressing your laces. So I would buy factory stuff. I actually bought mine from Asalo laces. Who knows if they're who makes them for them, but I used those. They performed well. A must. If I didn't bring these, I would have been in trouble.
Pardon my yawning. I'm just so jet lagged.
Another thing you can bring is a diary, kind of chronicling your trip. Mine happens to just say day 1. I didn't fill mine in, so I don't know. I was too busy having fun talking with people and drinking beers and trying to keep up with Crispin on the pints. But no, I mean maybe I'll do it like the Bible was written. I'll do it in several years.
Yeah.
But another piece that it's not really a major, You do need an adapter to fit their plugs because they have the twin plug 200 volt power. But I brought one of these power battery backups, and we use it about 3 times. And this will power up her iPhone 2 full times, or my phone twice, or my GoPro 3 or 4 times. And not much weight, you know, a little bit there, about $70 for a good one. And probably worth it. We hear in some of the albergues that we didn't stay in, power outlets were very few and far between, and you'd almost have to arm wrestle people to get to them. So if you had one of these and you had only one device to charge, out, have another beer. And then of course, if you're bringing a GoPro or some sort of a device that uses these cards, this is a really nice waterproof piece to put. Think about it. If you're gonna chronologically film.
You gotta keep track of your
keep track of your trip. You certainly don't want to lose this or get them wet, and the
you can label them
Sharpie
with your
can be
Sharpie.
labeled. That worked well. Because you bring a GoPro, you have to bring back, you know, support devices. So this thing here is like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. Probably wouldn't do the GoPro again. Would maybe just do a cell phone. I don't know. We brought it just because we were gonna, you know, kind of follow the whole trip. Burt's Bees. You gotta keep your lips dry or moisturized because that trail is dry. This is definitely worth it. I didn't really use this, but maybe once or twice. I thought, you know, if I'm gonna be out there and werewolves are gonna attack us and wild pigs and horses and crazy people, then I would have some sort of, you know, protection. I think I cut 3 or 4 sandwiches with it, maybe some tomatoes.
Yeah, a hard crunchy bocadilla sandwich with crusty bread.
That's what you could use. You don't even need this for protection. Use a bocadillo.
Yeah.
If somebody comes after your money, just take it, you hit them with the sandwich and you're fine.
Over the head.
You'll need some Band-Aids for your lips too after eating several of those. But anyway.
Lastly, I think that something important to mention is they do have backpack transfer services. We found this Correios to work very well. I'm not sure how you say it, but it's a wonderful service that you can email the night before I think by 9 o'clock, and you just tell them that you'd like a bag transfer, tell them where you're at and where you'd like it to go to, fill out this form, again, with the handy dandy Sharpie, and you can attach it to your bag. They will come to the albergue or your hotel or wherever you're staying. You can attach it to your bag with a handy dandy
those things
stretch cord, whatever you want to call them, leather cord, I don't know what you call it. And
costs €5.
they'll come and take your bag and pick it up, and take it to where you're going for €5. You just simply put the money inside the envelope, seal it, attach it to your backpack, and you're ready to go.
We didn't have any trouble at all. By the time we got there, the pack was there, and if you were already registered and signed in, a lot of times we found that the people actually brought it up to our room and it's sitting on the bed.
And actually this is part of their mail service in Spain, so it's affiliated with that, and I don't know if that helped with the reliability of the service, but it was invaluable many times when I couldn't carry the weight of my full backpack because of my blisters. So wonderful service, and really you still have to carry a day pack anyways because you have to bring your water, you have to bring snacks, you have to bring your important documents, so you're always carrying something. So to feel like you're not carrying your weight, so to speak, is baloney. You're carrying plenty, trust me. Just the water bottle is like, what, 2 pounds?
Yeah, so it's I don't think, we didn't hear of many services being not where any packs have been lost. There was one for €3, but I wouldn't waste my time with it. I forget, there was one for $7 that we used a few times, and we liked the fact that we could email, get a confirmation number, and it was running through their mail service. Only one time did they say we couldn't pick up your pack, so what did they say? We're assuming that it's abandoned, and that was not the case. So the hotel, albergue, hostel, whatever it is, proprietor called someone else. They came for $5 and made sure that our bag made it. So no troubles, worked great. And that's, I can't think of Band-Aids. You don't really need to bring a lot with you. Bring some that are comfortable for you. What I would buy here for sure are the Band-Aids that are made of kind of a cloth, and they have almost like this bionic
Cotton feel.
glue on them that you can't peel them off once on, is they don't have that level of Band-Aid in Spain.
Yeah.
And
They have
when
what
you
they
do
call
get
plasters.
some of the Band-Aids or the blisters, let's say on the back of your Achilles, where there's a lot of rubbing, that kind of movement will peel anything right off. So maybe bring a pack of those, but everything else you can get there. Like I said, you'll spend more money in the pharmacies, which there seem to be, one every 55 feet. They're kind of like Starbucks here. It's a big green lit cross, and it's just lit with neon, the only neon you'll see in Spain, and very accessible.
Yeah. So
I think that's it for the equipment. We'll follow up with some things that we did and what we should have done differently, and maybe some tips and such on the Camino itself. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will catch up later.
ciao.
Buenos
Adios.
dias. Or buenos noches. Buenos whatever.
Hello, everybody.
Buenos dias, buenos noches.
Buenas noches, buenas tardes. We, in making our review of our equipment, we forgot one of the most important aspects of equipment that you need to bring with you or purchase when you're in Spain is walking poles. If he doesn't take my eye out first. Walking poles are wonderful for flat ground so that you can keep your balance and actually look around and not fall down. They're great for downhill. They take the stress off of your knees and your legs. And they're fabulous for uphill because they actually take a lot of the work away from your legs and help distribute it more evenly through your arms and your core. So they make 3 wonderful reasons to have them: flat, up, and down. There are different types of poles and different types of different types of poles and different types of handles. So I'll let Greg
You
tell
see a lot
about
of
those.
people that'll walk with one stick, kind of like the old Noah's Ark kind of thing, a little ball hanging that's supposed to be for water to 600,000 years ago. But currently, here was one that we started with probably a year or so ago, and they twist, and you can set the different distances or lengths, and also they compress. And we didn't bring these on the Camino. We actually, and these are light too. These are carbon fiber. I got them at Costco. They're like $35 a pair, something like that. We chose using 2 sticks for many reasons. When you're walking with 2, like Marcia said, you can look around. If you step in something, you've got something to kind of stabilize you. When you're going uphill, great to help push and on track, not really muddy areas, but for traction and such. And we ended up getting these from REI. They're carbon fiber ones. They don't have that twist lock. They have a snap lock.
Much easier to use.
And they have little graduation so you can tell where you want to set it. Remember, we saw somebody use this. They had it way out here. This little white line on all sticks is, you don't want to go past that line. So you leave it there, and then here's your height adjustment from there. Another thing that we didn't know, and we learned on the Camino, is the strap. Unlike skiing, that you never want to use the strap, because if you plant the pole and it hits you in the face, you could die. These,
What a lovely thought.
you put it around your wrist, and as you're pushing down, all that weight is being pushed on your arm rather than on your wrist itself. So you see these people with them on their hand. I'm like, why are they doing that? And they finally said, well, if it's set right, it sits in the palm of your hand like that. As you push down, it takes all that weight and just distributes it through your wrist rather than, on the wrist bone itself. Not knowing that, we thought it was kind of like skiing, so I took a punch and I punched these ones out and threw them in the trash and found that we absolutely needed them.
Oh, wow.
But these are really nice. They're light. And what I ended up doing is I carried my little rubber ends in my pocket for when we were on the street. I would just twist them on and use them, and then the minute we would get to dirt, I would just twist them back off and put them in my pocket so you'd have traction. Big difference. And also, it's terrible when you're walking behind someone on asphalt, and that's all you hear. But with the rubber, you don't hear that. You just, you hear it on the wood floor, but you don't hear it on the asphalt as much. But absolutely, I couldn't imagine doing a 500-mile or more walk without walking sticks. One, you see people with one, and I think it just kind of torques your back and you're putting pressure on just one side. But I think it's preference at this point. And I think that's it for one of the most important pieces, walking sticks.